What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today I will be reviewing a beer from the Cinderlands Beer Company, and they are out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and this is their Douse Blend 1, and this is the 2021 vintage. So they are calling this one a blended barrel-aged Imperial Stout that comes in 11.7% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed, time of review. This bottle is just over 2.5 months old. I'm going to give a huge thanks and shout out once again to a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Dan, for hooking me up with this one. So big thanks to him. In the description box, I'll post a link to the beer mail unboxing video I did that contains all the goodies he hooked me up with. And this is the final beer of the beer mail that I will be reviewing. The last one I did was from Roundabout Brewery, and they're also out of Pittsburgh, and it was their Heine's Good Cheer. It was a blended barrel-aged old ale. Fantastic. One of the best beers I've had this year. So we have another blended barrel-aged beer, but this is an Imperial Stout. Now, it has a little write-up, and we'll go over it real quick. It says, a blend of 3 Imperial Stouts aged in American oak barrels that previously held Bourbon Trace bourbon with Buffalo Trace mash bills 1 and 2 represented. 2 of these are milk stouts, and the third is a double mashed long-boiled behemoth seeing its first blend. So pretty crazy shit, I would say. It says contains lactose because of the milk stouts, and yeah, really excited about this one. Now, the only thing I don't like about this one is that the wax is super thick, so I pre-cut it. Hopefully I can get it in this one. If not, I might have to cut it a little bit more. But I wanted to do it off camera, just, you know, in case I couldn't get into it. Well, I'm getting into it. Oh, come on, let me get in there. I don't want to bust this off. You know, I think some of the best parts about watching BeerTube is people struggling on camera. So, see here. I mean, that wax is so freaking thick. Come on. Do I got a grip on it? I think I got it. I got it. Finally. I just don't want any wax to go into the beer. I think we're good. The wax is ridiculously thick. And I cut it off camera because, open heart surgery, new aortic valve, blood thinners. Not trying to cut myself on camera. I'm just going to put this off camera, this cap, because A, it's ruined, and B, it's covered in wax. So, and there's no specific thing, any kind of logo or anything on it. So we should be fine here. Let me take a little bit more of this wax off. I don't want to pour any into the beer. Look at the thickness of it though. It's crazy how thick that wax is. Right, we're going to pour it out of this side. Can't do label out, or can we? We'll try. Anyway, let's give it a pour. Holy shit. That's looking like motor oil, honestly. Try to give it a relatively hard pour. All right, we're not going to go crazy because I'm not going to drink all this today. 11.7%, not happening. I'm cheating. Okay. All right, so, holy shit. I don't know if that's going to come off on camera, but those legs are sheets, those sheets are curtains, and it's all over the glass. The legs are ridiculous. Yeah, it poured out pitch black motor oil. In the glass looks the same thing, pitch black. Has about a half finger of this dark brown, creamy looking head that has dissipated a bit. I can swirl back up, give it a nice swirl here, and then it just starts dissipating again. But yeah, that looks like a huge barrel-aged beer. Let's get a nose. It's real nice. This is really fudgy brownie batter, but more like fudge. It has a lot of chocolate in this one. Oh, there's chocolate and vanilla. The barrel is, you can smell, okay, so they're blended, but just in generic terms, there's just a huge bourbon presence. There's vanilla, there's oak, there's actual spirit, a little bit of a peppery kind of bourbon, sweeter bourbon note. Oh. Touch of umami. Yeah, very slight soy sauce thing, very slight. There's molasses, there's caramel, there's burnt sugars. The base Imperial Stouts that they're using, the blend, is just a lot, it's making my mouth water, honestly. There's just a lot of decadent, sweet, rich components. Touch of dark fruit, like a raisin. Kind of raisinette-esque. Oh, it smells so good. It smells like a big beer. You can smell the alcohol. You can tell this is almost 12%. But it's just so nice. Now, I got this right out of my 52-degree Fahrenheit beer fridge. Let it sit out for like 5-10 minutes as I was prepping for the review. And so this is probably in like the 55 range, maybe even a little bit warmer at this point. Yeah, it smells great. It smells like a really well-rounded, just cohesive kind of barrel-aged beer. If I was doing this blind, I would be like, oh, it's blended or whatever, but it just has a really nice, the bourbon's represented in this one. You have a nice barrel-aged, or base Imperial Stout. There are a lot of good flavors in here, or I should say aromas, and there's just a lot of chocolate and fudgy components to this one, and that's what I'd say kind of stands out the most. Anyway, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Dan, for all the beers, but especially the last two. Like, these two are very special, so cheers. Okay, so first things first, this beer's thin. I didn't expect that. Pour it out like motor oil. Oh, shut up, Joe. Just shut up. Let your palate acclimate to the deliciousness. Yeah, so let's just get the negatives of the body and mouthfeel out of the way. The body, medium, touch over medium. This is actually quite thin at almost 12%. I'm kind of surprised. Yeah, it's not like watery, but for something that's approaching 12%, I would have thought this is bigger, but it's like higher side of medium at best. Yeah, a little bit disappointing on the body. The mouthfeel, there's carbonation, not overly carbonated. It's fine. It's perfect for what you're going for. Has a nice soft smoothness. I thought it'd be maybe a little bit more creamy because of the milk stouts in here. So body disappointing, mouthfeel fine. Those are the two negatives, I would say. The flavors, though, really nice. This is really nice. An impressive amount of just complex chocolate notes. I mean, right at the front of the palate, there's fudge, there's sweet dark chocolate, there's milk chocolate. It's rich, it's vibrant, it's a lot of chocolate. So it continues to pass through the palate. Some of those dark fruits pop in, a little bit of raisin, touch of black cherry. There's a little bit of underlying molasses. That umami's not really present in the taste, more in the nose. Slight hints of burnt sugar, caramelized sugar, caramel toffee. But those are nuances of those characters. Really, this is real big on like the fudgy chocolate aspect. Halfway through the palate, the bourbon kind of hits. And it's a nice, just well-rounded kind of bourbon spirit kind of character. But it hits right at that middle of the palate and then carries on to the back. And as it carries on, the actual bourbon kind of dissipates. And the oaky, vanillin type of vanilla and oak presence just kind of hits. And that's what you're left on the back palate. Really nice mixture of fudgy chocolate, vanilla, and oak tannins. It's semi to full-on dry, mildly bitter. There's a touch of like an earthiness underlying on the back of the palate on the finish. This is really, really nice. But here's the thing. Them blending these three together and whatnot, and this is like a special beer. It's a crazy blend. It's 11.7%. The body, and I'm not a guy that goes too crazy over the body of a beer. Mouthfeel, I think, to me is more important. I like the mouthfeel. To me, if it's thin, but if the mouthfeel's fantastic, I really don't care. If the beer is super and viscous, but the mouthfeel doesn't represent what I think the style should, I get kind of upset. That's kind of where I am here. Is I think the mouthfeel's, the mouthfeel's good, but it's not great, and the body's super thin. So typically, I'd be like, whatever. But I feel like a beer like this, I want it to be more viscous. And I don't need to be chewing it. I don't need to be like maple syrup. I don't need to be super slick and oily and on the palate. But what I'd like out of this is a little bit bigger of a body. I think it's disappointing from that aspect. That said, the flavors are really nice. I think they meld together nicely. They blend together quite well. And I really like the big chocolate blast of this one. It's a very complex chocolate character. If I was doing this blind, I would honestly guess that there's chocolate in this beer. I would probably say barrel-aged Imperial Stout. I'd probably go bourbon barrel-aged Imperial Stout. And because of the body, I would say it's like 10%. I would guess like 10% at most, just because it's 11.7%. I'm getting a slight astringency on the palate, but it's also huge in the chest and in the stomach. There's a big warming. So I would probably guess like at least, because of the body, I'd guess like 10%. And I would say I would call this a barrel-aged Imperial Stout with cocoa nibs. That's what I would do blind. That's where I go for. The fact that there is no cocoa nibs in here is just a blend of 3 Imperial Stouts. A couple of them are milk stouts. I think that's impressive. I don't know where I land. I'm trying to think, like, as I'm talking, I'm stalling for a rating. I think flavor-wise, how the barrel's integrated, what I enjoyed, this is definitely like a low 4 or 5 range. But I have to knock it down because of the thin body. So the best I can do on Cinderlands Douse Blend 1, the 2021 vintage, I'm going to go 4.25 out of 5. Best I can do. I was thinking 4.2, 4.25. Still a really good score. Still a really good beer. It's just the one negative is the body. It's thin. It is, and it's hard to get past that for me. It's definitely thin. Yeah, if the body was better, this would be definitely in the low 4 or 5 and almost 4 or 5 range. Really good though. Like first Cinderlands beer, this is really good. It's just the body's kind of disappointing for something like this. But at the end of the day, a 4.25 out of 5, fucking great score. And how many times did I say that in a review where I'm like, you know, I'm like tearing it apart and saying, oh, this is a negative and that's a negative. And I'm like, oh, it's a 4.25. Listen, when you review beer on YouTube, what you're supposed to do is review the beer. And you got to take the good with the bad. You got to point out the positives and the negatives. Positives of this one, tons of complex chocolate character. I think the actual barrel blends great with the Imperial Stout. I really like the mouthfeel. It's thin. And for me, when it comes to a huge Imperial Stout or a barrel-aged blended Imperial Stout, the actual body means a lot to me in terms of rating and how I feel about it. So I'm probably going to drink the half of this bottle and then cork it and drink it tomorrow, the rest of it. But really good beer. Price and availability, I have no idea. So this is where you come in, Dan. I would assume this is probably 16 to 20 bucks for a bottle of it, which, you know, it's 11.7%. It's a 16.9 fluid ounce, 500 milliliter bottle. So that would be a fine price point. If it's over 20, I probably wouldn't pay that. I certainly wouldn't pay that if it's over 20. I would like to see this in $16, $18 range. If it's cheaper than that, that's fucking fantastic. And availability, I'd imagine this is like brewery only at Cinderlands. When I go to Pittsburgh, and I might be going there later this summer for Roger Waters' concert with my pops. And if I do, I want to hit up Dancing Gnome, maybe Hitchhiker, and maybe Old Thunder, Brew Gentleman, and maybe these two breweries in roundabout in this. I don't know how much time I'm going to have, but if I have enough time, I'd like to hit them up and just, you know, drink some of their other beer. But yeah. Anyway, thanks, Dan, for all of the beers, especially the big barrel-aged beers. They were a lot of fun to review. And thanks to everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. If you've had this one before, post in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And until the next one, cheers.